Welcome back to Not Another Sports Show. Today, you are in for a treat. I've got three-time Super Bowl champion Devin McCourty with me, taking us back to his Patriots Super Bowl versus the Seahawks, Super Bowl 49, and then also getting us head for Super Bowl 60, where the Patriots will yet again play the Seahawks. Welcome, Devin.
What's happening?
Devin, I'm so happy that I could sit here and talk with you. And I love to age you, but with the Super Bowl coming up, the big game coming up, of course I have to age you and bring you back to the Patriots and Seahawks Super Bowl. What do you remember about it? You were younger back then. Were you bald? Yes or no?
No, not for that one. The next Super Bowl I won, I was bald though. That was a good time.
Dang, the game aged you that much that you had to go bald about the second Super
No,
Bowl?
no, I got married. That's why. No, I'm joking. This has been really cool. I think for one, being at NBC and now going to be a part of the Super Bowl, part of the pregame, first time ever being a part of a pregame TV, job at the Super Bowl. And then 11 years ago, I got to play in the Super Bowl, New England versus Seattle. So it's surreal. I think just the thought of when I played and I got very fortunate, got to play in five different Super Bowls. I always thought that'd be the last time that I got to be a part of a Super Bowl and playing and your family and everything. And now
Mm.
I flew to Houston this week and sat down with Malcolm Butler, and me and Malk went through the play, went through, just that year and that game in general. So it's been a fun, build up to the Super Bowl. And I haven't even gotten to San Francisco yet. So I'm looking forward to obviously enjoying the game, but also enjoying that I got to be a part of the New England Patriots history and they're back in the Super Bowl. So hopefully running into former teammates, being at some of those activities should be a blast.
I have so many questions based off what you just said, so I'm going to try to go in chronological order here. But I know I keep calling you old, but do you remember much about that Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, we played against a team that a year ago went and played Denver, who we lost to in the AFC
Mm,
Championship game. I mean, Denver was a really good football team, and I mean, Seattle dismantled them. So going into that game, we knew they had the best roster in football, just all pros, Pro Bowlers all over their roster, and it was a back and forth game. It was our offense drive and have a good drive, then their offense will have a good drive, then both teams will get a defensive stop. It was just
mm.
back and forth. And I just remember we always felt as a team, and that was the year we brought in Darrell Reeves. Brandon Browner comes from Seattle to us, fresh off a Super Bowl. But we always had the feeling of like, let's just keep getting the ball back to Tom and our offense in the fourth quarter. And they drove
Mm.
down, got the lead to go ahead. And now, for me, that was my second time in a Super Bowl 2 minute drive trying to get a stop. Felt like it was all over. Jermaine Kearse has an acrobatic catch, and Malcolm, I mean, again, it's the greatest debate of all time in Super Bowls.
Mm.
Throw it or hand it to Marshawn Lynch. And if you're a Seattle fan, you said it was the worst decision. If you were a Patriot fan, you said the greatest decision ever was throwing the ball and throwing it at Malcolm Butler. So, still probably one of the greatest Super Bowls, I think, in NFL history. Just watching a back and forth game, not just an all out shootout, but just, I think, the matches between both teams, head coaches, coordinators, the players. Just a really fun game to be a part of.
Wow, having the opportunity to play against Marshawn Lynch, I can't even imagine what that was like. I'm sure if he's gonna be at any game, it probably is gonna be this Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl game this weekend. Have you talked to him? Do you guys connect even though you don't play on the same team? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of those guys. I've had I don't want to say in depth, but I've had conversation with Richard Sherman about the game. And the funny thing is that game and that play Malcolm made really turned one franchise's dynasty back on where, 2 years later we won another Super Bowl, and then 2 years after that we won another Super Bowl, and we ended up with three Super Bowls in a 5 year time span, whereas Seattle had a chance to go back to back and win Super
Mm,
Bowls, still had a great football team, but that team kind of fell apart because of that one play. So whether it's
mm,
been Michael Bennett, I've seen Marshawn Lynch at things, just we never like go all the way into talking about what happened to their team, but I mean, it's so obvious that that one play kind of divided and split up their team. And obviously, the business of football is a part of that as well. But our team stuck together because of some crazy win. And then we come and have, this crazy comeback victory and then go to another. I think we ended up playing in 3 more Super Bowl games, winning 2 of them, which was ridiculous. But just that game and how that propelled our organization forward was tremendous.
How hard is it to do what you just mentioned? I feel like, I, as a fan of the game, watch it and I'm like, yeah, the Eagles are going to go back to back. Like they looked so good against the Chiefs last year, but clearly we've seen how difficult that is with, injuries and the way the business is, where you see big time players being traded to their opponent, things like that. How hard is it to do what you guys did?
Yeah, me and my brother talked about that this year. He was going on ESPN and we were just, I think, FaceTiming or texting. And it was like what you just said. Why are the Eagles not destined to be back? And we talked about it like it puts a spotlight on how hard it is to do what the Patriots did in the early 2000s and in the 2010s, what the Chiefs did recently. Like those are not easy things to do. We watch teams do it and we're just like, oh, this other team, like they're square. Like look at
Mm-hmm.
their offensive line, or they're built for the future. And then the season starts and you have one injury, or these guys aren't getting along as well as we thought. Just whatever you want to name, it's so hard. And then you kind of add on to when you go to the Super Bowl or you play in a conference championship year in and year out, you get less rest. So your
Mm-hmm.
off season goes fast. So you need guys that have the mental and physical ability to say, I'm pushing through this. I know we've been, working longer than, 20 other teams or whatever it is. We still got to push forward to get ready for the next season. So it was extremely hard. And again, I think it was so unique for us because having a guy like Bill Belichick who is going to come in and demand a standard of you every single day, no matter what. Like we've come off every Super Bowl I've ever won. That next offseason was the hardest offseason I had ever been a part of because Bill was going to be on you about everything. And then we had the greatest player of all time. So you match that together with a coach that's going to demand and a star player who's a
Mm-hmm.
team first player who no matter what game you're in, you always have a chance. It made everybody else say, all right, we got to get better. We got to get better because we have a chance to do something great. So a unique opportunity. I think we see that a little bit in Kansas City with Mahomes, how his teams, like those players work their butts off because they know how special he is. We see it a little bit with Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's hard to get over the top and get that done each year.
It's funny that you brought up Josh Allen because I'm like, if there's any year that the Bills would have had the chance, the Ravens would have had the chance. I thought it was going to be this one with the Chiefs being in what seemed like a down year for them, but it's the Patriots back in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. Devin, I'm put you on the spot here. At the beginning of the season, what 2 teams did you have going to the Super Bowl?
I had Baltimore. Who do I have in NFC? I think maybe either the Rams or the Eagles. I had
Okay.
coming. I think I might have had the Eagles, but I definitely have Baltimore coming out of the AFC, and they didn't even make the damn playoffs.
And it's a long season. I feel like even, some of the people that kind of look like contenders in the beginning of the season,
Yeah.
injuries happen. People just come up and like the Bears have crazy comebacks. Like I think they had 7 or 8 crazy comebacks this year, where they just won in the final seconds. So now when you got here to this Super Bowl game, seeing the Patriots and the Seahawks, what was your assessment, I guess, of both teams with the way, especially starting with the Patriots, the way they were able to turn around their season after going 4-13 back-to-back years?
Yeah, I thought both teams would be drastically better this year, and Seattle wasn't far off when you watched Seattle a year ago. But with New England, myself and my brother, we called their preseason games the broadcast. So being around the team, you could feel the energy shift. But the big question mark was, hey, we just spent a lot of money in free agency. What does that actually look like? All right, we drafted Will
Mm.
Campbell fourth overall. What is that going to look like? And just to see them week by week by week put all this stuff together, some injuries. Will Campbell goes out for a month. Hey, don't worry about it. We'll just keep playing. So I think that team has been built through the season. That is a team that came in with a new head coach, new staff, a quarterback going in his second year, and said, we're going to work our butts off. And as we're doing that, we're going to continue to believe in the recipe to win. And I think when you watch New England, they know it's not about star players and this guy getting the ball and that guy.
Mhm.
We got to have, this pass rusher. This is what we need to do. This is our formula to win. And everything they do during the week, I think they believe we just got to keep checking the boxes. Check the box. Don't care what anybody else says. As long as we're checking our boxes, we got a shot to win. Where on the other side, I look at Seattle, and it reminds me a little bit of the Seattle team that was in the Super Bowl back when
Mm.
I played in Super Bowl 49. So much talent on this roster. You look at their defensive line, one of the best defensive lines. They can create pressure with four. They don't have to blitz. You look at their backers. Ernest Jones has had a great year. And what I loved about this team coming in is I thought they had one of the better secondaries in the NFL. And I think
Mm.
when you're good in the secondary, you got a chance to be great on defense. I'm a little biased, but I
You
believe that.
are biased.
And I think they have some guys. And then Nick Emanuori came in, and he's like this kind of poker chip that you can put everywhere on the field, and he's just a playmaker. And then, oh, don't worry about it. They have Sam Darnold playing at a high level, and Jackson Smith and Jigba has been the best receiver in the league, him and Puka Nacua all year. So on paper, this Seattle team, like people are like, man, they're sleeping on the
Mhm.
Patriots. I don't think people are sleeping on the Patriots. I just think they turn on Seattle and they go, how in the heck are they going to lose this game? They just have so
Mhm.
much talent. The roster's depth. Mike McDonald's been a master on defense, and Clint Kubiak's been really good on offense as a coordinator. So it's a tall task, I think, for New England because I think Seattle is the most complete team in football, and it showed as they started to play down the stretch. They played their best ball and then played awesome throughout the playoffs so far.
What do you think about this notion? You brought up, people are sleeping on the Patriots, maybe, but there's been a lot of buzz out there, I guess, about them having the easiest schedule to get to the Super Bowl. Do you believe that? And does that really matter if their strength of schedule wasn't necessarily like the same as the Seahawks?
Yeah, to me that's all. That's all, as Bill used to say, that's all hot air. When you make it to the Super Bowl, you got to go through the playoffs. This would be different if, hey, you have a week, regular season schedule, and then if you do well enough, you just get an automatic bid to the Super Bowl. Then we'd be talking about a whole different story. But every year in the NFL, you play the regular season. Each regular season game matters because it
Hmm.
allows you to play home games throughout the playoffs. So New England if you want to say their regular season schedule was soft, they use it to
Hmm.
their advantage. They beat up on those teams. They get the 2 seed. So now the Chargers and Houston have to travel to New England, two of the best defenses in all of football this year. They handle them. Then they go to
Hmm.
Denver and play another really good defense. They beat them. I get it. My guys, Jarrett Stidham was in there, steady played, and they played tough. But once you get to the last game of the year, there's no, they're only here because every team has to go through different trials and tribulations during the regular season. When there's two teams standing, one of them are going to say, hey, we're the best team in the world. And that's going to be the end of it. When we beat Seattle
Hmm.
in that Super Bowl, Seattle had the best defense since probably the 2000 Ravens at that time. And when we won the game, we preaching our defense because that's what winning that game means. And I think for both these teams, there's nothing you can say about them. If you wanted to say something, somebody should have beat them at any point during the playoffs. They didn't. So to me, both these teams have earned the right to be in the Super Bowl.
I have to pick your brain on the Patriots defense because you mentioned you're biased. We talked a lot about great defenses. Christian Gonzalez, what have you seen out of him in the Patriots secondary? And what do you think that matchup's going to look like? Which, I mean, I'm going to assume that he's going to have some involvement with JSN, but you never know. I'm not a coach. I don't want to speak on it. But what do you like about Christian?
No, it's one of the most intriguing matchups too, right? Because Gonzalez is a guy that can play inside, can play outside, great size for a corner, one of the best in the game. And obviously, what he does well is play man to man, go out there and try to take a guy away. But I give him credit because he was challenged this year, I think, a little bit. You
Mm.
come in, you play in a system, and you have some success, but then you get a new staff. And when you watch the Patriots now, it's not just all man. They're mixing and matching. They're running zone blitzes. They're
Mhm.
running man blitzes. They're running zone and cover four. They do so many different things, and he's gotten better and better at it. So the key matchup is what you said, though. How do they decide to match up with Jackson Smith and Jigba? He plays outside, he plays inside. Clint Kubiak has put him in the backfield. Like JSN is going to be all over this Seattle offense, and they're going to find ways to get him the ball. My thing that I'm interested in is how does New England match up? You get two. The Super Bowl is the most unique game in all of football because you get 2 weeks to prepare. These coaching staffs who are usually, one weekend, and some of the staff are they're watching film of the next week to try to prepare for the next opponent. This is different. This is all hands on deck. You're watching every single game your opponent has played. You're watching, like when I was in New England, we had Ernie Adams. Ernie Adams would be watching plays that Clint Kubiak decided to run. He'd be watching plays that Gary Kubiak, his dad, what he did back in Denver. Like that's how deep teams go into how you research, how you study. So we don't exactly know how this game plan will match up when you look at those two players and JSN and Gonzalez. But we know, and I would anticipate both these teams have some wrinkles and some new things that the other one doesn't know, they can't expect. And sometimes how you handle those plays sometimes dictate the winner of the Super Bowl.
Well, if there's any wrinkles being planned, I'm hoping it's maybe like a Marcus Jones on offense. I enjoy that. We've seen him go in there, play wide receiver maybe for one play. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Marcus Jones has been a pleasure to watch on all sides of the game. So maybe that's a little wrinkle. I don't know anything, but
Heard
I'm
it
gonna be
here
looking
first.
out for
Okay,
that.
Tamara, putting it out there.
I don't know anything, but I do love that man. He's awesome. He's incredible. Lastly for me, of course, you can't talk about this game without talking about Drake Maye. I had the pleasure of covering him last year in his rookie season, but this year to see him advance to Super Bowl in his second season, it's incredible. I don't want to say unheard of because it's possible, obviously, especially
Yeah.
when you have guys as talented as him out there playing. But of course, it comes with the comparison of Tom Brady and Drake Maye, and are they the same? I think they play very differently, but they're both great quarterbacks. What's your take on those two?
Yeah, they're completely different, and it's not fair to compare Drake to Tom,
Exactly.
even though everybody's breaking down. Well, Tom's first year and Drake's first year and Tom's
Mm.
second year, like all of that, I get it, and it's gonna happen. But what I love about the kid is when you go and talk to him, there's no cares in the world about what's next. He's just solely focused on his play and his guys. I interviewed him before they played Baltimore on Sunday Night Football, and he has two brothers. One has a national championship ring for baseball for Florida, and Luke has a national championship ring in basketball for North Carolina. I said, "Hey, you win a Super Bowl, which ring is dad gonna take when he goes to show off?" Like, and he's like, "It's got to be the Super Bowl, right?" And then he moved on right away. And when I asked that question, I'm thinking about, down the line, years to come. This guy's in the Super Bowl right now with an opportunity to go and win that ring. And I think it's solely because he's the youngest kid in the family. He just cares about everybody else around him being
Mhm.
prepared, being ready to go to work, how he performs for them to win, not how he performs to win MVP or offensive player. He
Mhm.
doesn't care about that. He wants to be a winner. And I think that has showed up more and more for this team. And I think it's such a cool matchup because you have Drake Maye, a guy from UNC, second year, and you have Sam Darnold, high top pick out of USC. Everybody wrote him off. Like people are going to want to talk about the last time he played New England in 2019 and seeing ghosts. All of that is in the past. He's put it past him. And I think he has a great story and also just a great dude on. You can go through all of that. And yes, he's made money and he's changed his career and all that. But he's in the Super Bowl. He has a chance to be
Mhm.
Sam Darnold Super Bowl champion as a quarterback. And no one can say anything. Like if I'm Sam Darnold and I win a ring, where am I going right after that game? I'm going to walk the streets of New York City with my ring blasting, like, oh yeah, all y'all Jets fans that want me up out of here, look at me now. And I just think that's an awesome story for him. But I think both these quarterbacks will get to write their future a little bit on how they play Sunday.
Is this going to be like Disney World for you, Devin? Like reporting on your team that you used to play for, that you won a Super Bowl, the multiple Super Bowls for? Like, are you just like pinch me, I'm dreaming right now?
I do think it'll be pretty cool, but I think the cool part about it will be the week. The game will be what it is, where I'll be in, my football analyst mode, and I'm always going to be honest and truthful about, like I said, I think Seattle's a better football team than the New England Patriots. Does that mean I think Seattle's going to win? Maybe, maybe not. We'll decide that come, right before the Super Bowl. But I do think, for that week, all of the guys that will be pouring in to San Francisco to celebrate the Patriots, and we'll get to celebrate our times and reminisce and catch up. Like, those are the things that I think are truly special. We always talk about playing on a Super Bowl team. It's great in the moment, but what it really means is that Tom said it to us, it means you're honored forever. And a part of being honored is celebrating the team that's there now, while also looking back at the past of some of the guys that laid the groundwork. So, whether it's a generation before me that won, our generation that'll be there, like, I'm looking forward to just having fun and catching up with guys, and just, celebrating everything that we were able to accomplish.
Well, Devin, I thank you for catching up with me, taking me back through the history of you being an old
Yeah, I
man
got
and
to
winning
teach
some
you
Super
young
Bowls.
people. We got to teach you young people
You
the
you
history.
do. You do. You taught me some valuable things today about the Patriots and the Seahawks back when you played them in the Super Bowl, and then fast forward to today, getting us ready for the big game. So thank you.
No problem. Anytime.